Welcome to the Wizard of Cause, your go-to podcast for social impact, where we speak to innovative businesses, how they give, and of course, the charities that they love and inspire them. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur, a startup founder, or a business professional looking to stay ahead of the curve, the Wizard will show you how to build lasting social impact on the world. Are you ready to grow, give, and be inspired? Let's get started.
Hey, are you looking to scale your business from figures to six figures or six figures to seven figures? If you are, I have the perfect thing for you. What I want you to do today is I want you to go download a book. This book is going to take you through my 3-pillar system. It's 100% free. All you have to do is go to growfast.cash. I say again, go to growfast.cash and you're going to be able to download my free international best-selling book, which is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. You can take that book. It's going to help you scale your business to the next level. Again, go download it. Be good, be brief, be gone. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. Enjoy.
So good morning. And for those of you who may not be watching it in the morning, right? Uh, but that's right. I'm here with a buddy of mine, my best friend the last 2.5 weeks. This is Lewis. Lewis, it's gonna seem a little silly. I'm gonna say, tell us who you are, what you are, and what we're talking about here real quick today. And obviously, I mean, restate your name for us, but also tell us about SFL and really the big goal.
Gotcha. Hey, my name again is Lewis. Last name is White. I'm born in Chicago, raised in Michigan, and I worked with the Detroit Lions for several years. I was a marketing operations and then marketing operations person for the Detroit Lions. And then I went from there to the All-American Football League we didn't get off the ground. Then there was a United National Gridiron League that didn't get off the ground. And then there's the National Developmental Football League that also didn't get off the ground. But the reason why it came about, I got fired from the Detroit Lions. Very traumatic for me. I was passionate about, what I did and everything, but people make mistakes. And you work from those mistakes. You just move on. And how it gave me a different perspective of how to look at the game and how to create opportunities for guys that went through what I would. I was a walk-on in college,
Oh yeah.
and I was a walk-on, and you see some of my buddies went on to playing NFL, going to different careers, FBI. One of my best friends became an agent in the bureau, and one of them is an actor right now on he's on TV every week. But has a lot of friends that moved on. Even if you saw the movie Rudy, you saw like half my offensive line in that movie.
I've seen
In the
Rudy.
movie
Yeah, yeah.
Rudy. Yeah, so that was half my offensive line. So when Rudy came out the locker room, it was someone standing there. So that's how this all came about was, let me just back up. I was one of those guys that fell through the crack. I love football, but because of my family situation when I was in college, we didn't grow up poor, didn't have a lot of money. And so my dad was homeless.
Oh
And
wow.
so, yeah, and so when it came for me going to, I walked on in college because I knew I wanted to play football, but then it got to a point where, hey, you still got to pay some bills. And
What?
and there was a transition. Coach Harbaugh was my coach. Jack Harbaugh and John Harbaugh, he's the defensive back coach. And and then before that, I mean, after they got let go, Coach Moldy came in, Al Moldy came in with a bunch of transfers and things like that. And by then I'd earned an opportunity, but I didn't get that opportunity. But the track coach, I also ran decathlon. The track coach ended up saying, okay, he still has skills, he still has abilities, he can run track. So I ran decathlon, all 10 events in track, high jump, pole vault, discus, shot put, javelin. I did all of that stuff, long jump. But my last year, it came to a point that that wasn't full scholarship. I still had to pay some bills, and I didn't have that. So I ended up,
The
just running
decathlon
track.
has got to be one of the most grueling things. You've got to be the most well-rounded. I mean, that's famously Bruce Jenner's thing, right? I mean, that's how he got the Wheaties box back in the day when he was still a
Right.
dude, right? Because he could do everything. That is
Yeah.
impressive to even. Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Yes, yes. So I ended up running decathlon. But my last year, it got to a point I said, I went out back on the football. I went to coach, and he's like, we don't have any room for you. Not, and so to speak, I showed up at the dorm. Everybody's moving in on right before season starts, and I didn't have a spot. And I'm like, what's going And so I'm like, so I walked away from that and I just finished one more year at track, running the decathlon, but it got to a point that it's like it was really I got depressed. And so I just my last um track event, I didn't even go to it.
Oh man,
Even though, we and I was the only second decathlete that we had. So I ended up having to walk away from track. It was very hurt because we didn't have the resources to help me to keep going.
right.
Long story short, I went from there, started doing internships, but I still wanted to play football. So I was working as an intern at the House Michigan Ombudsman's office at the end at that point, and I was an intern with a state representative. Well, before I graduated, because I started focusing on my education and everything. If since football wasn't panning out, and when I was at Western, so I was like, man. So I did that as a working in an ombudsman's office in the internship program, but I still had in my heart I wanted to play football. So I was still going to camps. There was this company called Scout Camp that had camps all over the place. Had a trial with the Argonauts. I went down to Atlanta, had a trial. I had a trial in North Carolina with Bears, Vikings. I had tryouts all over the place, but nothing panned out. And so my last tryout was with the Lions. And that week, I was in Chicago. There's this team called the DePage Eagles. That's it's not you get paid, but it was I got hurt in practice that same day the Lions called me. And I was like, I told Kevin Colbert, he was at the Lions at that time. It was Kevin Colbert, Chuck Hughes. They went to Pittsburgh after my I mean, let me just finish the story for quick. Then I went to a trial in Detroit. Told Kevin, I said, Kevin, I just twisted my ankle. And he said, Lewis, we trying to win some games. We trying to win right now. We can't wait on your ankle to get healed. Come up to camp and we'll see how it goes. And so I went up and I gave it my best. He said, all you guys, if I call your name, stick around. If I don't call your name, best of luck to you. And so I was like, it was this one guy he called name. He said, best of luck with the rest of you guys. But and so I went back to school, working on got my master's. But then they liked me because, yeah, I guess they liked my personality, whatever. So I'm going to working on my master's, and I was in the internship program when I started at the ombudsman's office. But then the state representative liked me so much, she made me the coordinator of the internship program.
Oh wow.
So I started placing students around the state, governor's office, mayor's office. I had one student go to Japan, senator's office, governor's office. I started placing all these students. And I was like, you know what? I still want to play football. So let me get my own internship. So I got my own internship with the Lions. So on game days, I started doing all the promotions and things on game days, but I still had in my heart, I still wanted to play because I'm looking at these guys in practice. I'm like, really? This guy, look, I can beat this
This
guy.
guy?
I'm like, oh my God. I'm looking at these guys in practice. I know I could beat these guys. So I still had it in my heart, but I just kept on pushing. So when I graduated, and then I went from graduation, the week I was graduating, they knew I was graduating, so they called me up. I started working in a ticket office
Mhm.
at first, for the Lions. And then a week after that, when I was at Michigan State, I was doing all the game day promotions for football, hockey, volleyball. I was writing the scripts and everything that happened. I was working in the athletic department under Mark Hollis up at Michigan State during this time. So after I um, left the House of Representatives, I started getting my own internships, and then I went back to school. So I was working in the athletic department at Michigan State.
Mhm.
And so I was still doing an internship with the Lions because I got that internship. So I was working on the game days. And so when I graduated, I ended up going to the Lions, working in ticket office at first. And then the guy that was doing all the marketing operations for the Lions quit. He quit like a week or two after I got there. Luckily, I was doing all the things for Michigan State, all the game day stuff.
Right.
And I was already an intern under him, the guy that quit. He's a great guy. I have no idea what happened, but it left an opportunity for me because I was working with him already. And so he quit. They ended up moving me to the marketing operations after he quit. And I did that for like 4 years until they gave me the axe. Anytime you got new teams and new coaches, stuff like that, they get rid of everybody. So I was a casualty of that, you make your own mistakes. So I'm not gonna get into that, but nobody likes to be. No, I'm not even gonna get into that. But
Actually, I love this. I love this story, um, because there's so many huge things in here, right? One is you never stop your education during the background of this,
yeah,
right? And two is anybody can be cut for any regular type of reason.
yeah.
um, but you kept going, and you're like even saying, I'm even here and I'm getting the axe, but I got to keep going, which is what I love. But take a second and tell me, let's come back to it a second and tell me spring football league. What is it? What are we doing?
Okay, how this is how it came about. After I got the axe from Alliance, I was like, you know what? I still want an opportunity to play. And so I ended up looking for other teams. At first, I started looking for other teams, but then heard about the All American Football League trying to get off the ground.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I was like, okay, let me look at these guys. And so I got the opportunity. They brought me on board, but then, that was, after several years after leaving the Lions, I went from there from being a teacher, in between there, as well as being a sort of like the advanced extended programs coordinator. I work with a lot of troubled youth in between that as well. So I was teaching those kids as well. So in between getting let go from the Lions and working with the All American Football League, I was working with a lot of youth in various capacities.
Hmm.
But I still had it in my heart. I wanted to play. And so I started looking at those opportunities, stayed in shape. And that's ironic. The last year I was with the Lions, I'm gonna go get to the spring football league in a second. Just gonna
No,
share this real
go
quick.
ahead, go ahead. I'm here for you.
It's a funny. The last year I was with the Lions, me and Eddie Drummond was working out. And it was another guy that he represented Trinidad in the Olympics.
Oh
He was
wow.
41 years old and he still ran a 4.240. right?
That is impressive. Oh my
So
golly.
we're training. So we're training, and Eddie's. This is his second year. This is Eddie's second year,
Hmm.
and so we're training, and uh, they wouldn't give me another shot. But when that year, when the season started, Eddie set the NFL record. He won a 109 back, a 105 back, and a 103 back kickoffs for touchdowns. He set the NFL record 3 times. And I was like, I was training with him. They wouldn't give me a chance. But it's all good. So how that came about is because of what my going all those camps I mentioned
Hmm.
and having those just falling through the cracks like so many other guys. So many guys right now are falling through the cracks. And there is an abundance of players right now because of the COVID. They got another 1 or 2 or even 3 years to keep on playing. And so what happened to that all those guys that through the COVID years that they got an extra year to train, they got an extra year to go to school. It's an abundance of players out there. Now the level of a competition has raised, and it's less still the same amount of opportunities. So that was even back then. So I looked at that and it was with the All American Football League. They shut down and other leagues shut down as well. I was like, so let me start working on something just for for creating opportunity for guys in the community. So initially I started there's some other smaller leagues out there that I was like, let me just create some opportunity. So believe it or not, I started a nonprofit team called the Capital City Cowboys in Lansing, Michigan.
Yeah.
And then after I started that one, I started another one. That one uh that one kind of fell apart because of not having any resources. Then there was another one in Detroit called the Detroit Templars. I tried to start that one. That one fell apart. And then I worked with some guys. If I said their name, you probably know their names, but I'm not going to share it. But I partnered with somebody and I was like, you know what? I saw the first video of the spring football league, the initial one.
Yeah.
This, I was like, what happened to that? And so I was because I was doing research. I was like, what happened? They fell apart. And then, so you know what? I did my due diligence. I was like, they don't have a trademark, they're gone. So I was like, you know what? Let me start up a new one, a new spring football league. And so I went and did my trademark. I went and did my uh, EIN number as a
How did
nonprofit.
they
I
get
did
that
all the
far
things.
without all those pieces?
What's that?
How did they get along without those major pieces?
They may have had it, but they didn't. If you
It
don't
lapsed
use
or
it, you
something,
lose it.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because I filed it and they didn't give me any kick pushback or anything. And I got my trailer. I was like, they don't have that. I'm like, that's awesome because every time you think of spring football, you say the spring football. You
Right.
say spring
Right. Right.
football. So I was like, you know what? Let me um go ahead and do my due diligence to get that. And sidebar real quick, I always come up with great ideas. Believe it or not, I was one of the first people that came up with the ringtone. I have it documented, but I was still in college. I didn't have $5,000 to do a patent search.
Right.
Uh, yeah, and I called at that time. They sent me the book back, and I made a mistake and sent it to a company and believing that people are honorable, and I didn't have enough money to do the patent search. And next thing I know, 2 years later, it comes out. I'm like, that's my idea, and I have the book to prove it. And this was back in '98. Back in '98, before you had ringtones on your phone and stuff, I had came up with that idea, and I had it called a recordable ringer, and you play your own music on your phone. I had it back in '98 before everybody still had the flip phones and the block phones and things.
That's
But
awesome.
that's just sidebar real quick. But how the Spring Football League came about is just creating um, what my experiences kind of led me to come up with the Spring Football League and having your heart ripped away from me, and then having being a leader of working with All-American Football League, how many guys were still looking at opportunity, but their hearts were broken and they missed those opportunities and they know they wanted to play. It's so many guys like that. And so we wanted to, and so what happened was when all the leagues shut down the first time, just hearing all the tragedies that happened once, we signed a $50,000 contract and now it's not any good. And I gave up other opportunities. I gave up opportunities to
Wow.
play here and play there, or had job opportunities. I gave up. I gave up this job. And it was a lot of tragedies that happened. And I even spent 3 months trying to help some of my players and other guys around the league heard about it. I was trying to help everybody, and I didn't even have a job at the time. And so, but I was making a cold phone calls, calling the governor's office. I called all the teams, and how I learned, came up with the foundation of how we're going to operate the spring football league is first thing you have to have is you have to have your degree. You have to have your degree, and you're going to be a well-rounded guy that's working in the off season in your degreed area. The reason why that's important because in what my experiences with the failures of the other leagues, we're all about creating an opportunity, but what's going to happen to you when you can no longer play?
Right.
All right.
Right.
And so what we want to do is create that opportunity for them to work in their degreed area in the off season, being in with that employer or sponsor in their degreed area. And so I got that from all of the tragedies that happened with all the guys losing their jobs and not having an opportunity or giving up opportunities with even different leagues. They gave up opportunities because they wanted to participate with the AAFL. And so that's why it's important. That's one of the principles that we want to have in place is create that opportunity for guys, but you also have to do your part. You have to get your degree. You have to be, um, but there's another facet of what we want to do too. So the first part is the degree part. If you're in college or if you have your degree and you didn't make a training camp, you didn't make a practice squad, or you didn't get an invite or a college a day for a scout to come check you out.
Right.
This is what that we're looking at that player first. The second players that we're looking at is what one of my competitors took my information. I'm not going to say who it was, but they went to Congress with my idea and pitched it to the military. That was one of my ideas that I pitched to a network that I put it out there. This is what we want to do. Essentially, if you served our country honorably, and a lot of guys go in at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. When they come out, they're 24, 20, 23, 24, 25. They can still play. And there's some outstanding athletes in our military.
Right.
If you served our country honorably, we want to create that opportunity for, yeah, you get honorably discharged and you want to play pro football. We want to create that opportunity for you. That's the second one. The third one is just like that guy that went into the police academy, fire department, fire academy. You served our community for 2 years, minimum 2 years, and you still have it in a part. We want to create that opportunity for you as well. So you got the three facets. You got the college guy, you got the military guy, and you got the public first responder. That
So what happens with your guys that if they haven't finished their degree by the time the SFL Spring Football League season begins?
Well, it's the good thing about it. It's thousands upon thousands of guys,
Mhm.
and it's literally 16,000 right now that's
Mm,
available.
mm. So you
If
have
you
something to pick from.
it-
This isn't a
yeah, if
small orchard. You got bushels and bushels of apples that are
right,
right.
the players is the least of my worries. It's the collaboration
Mhm.
and investment um with our community leaders, our workforce boards, our chambers of commerce and our nonprofits. Um, the good thing about what I'm saying, it's not anything brand new. It just hasn't been done here in the US. There's a league called the X League.jp over in Japan.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They've been doing exactly what I've been sharing with you right now for 53 years, and the NFL knows all about it.
Yeah.
You have companies like Panasonic, Fujitsu, uh, uh, playing. Those guys are sponsoring teams in Japan. Even their military and the police department have teams over in Japan and being sponsored by the players being sponsored. Some of those guys make it in upwards of 600 grand a year.
Wow, wow.
And so what we want to do is create that, bring that model back to the US, create the guys opportunity for those thousands of guys here, and create that opportunity for those guys to play here instead of going overseas. And so so it's nothing that I'm saying is brand new. It's already in
Wait a minute,
play.
Lewis. I'm so sorry. You mean they're not over in Japan? These aren't Japanese players. I mean, these are our a lot of American and players over here, but they're going over there to the X League and playing there.
Well, it's a combination. They have it's just like the CFL. They have they can't have their whole team American players, but
Mm-hmm.
they have to have so many Canadian players.
Right.
And you have a limited amount of American players that can come over and play in the CFL.
Okay.
It's sort of the same concept in Japan. You have so many players there, but you have so many players that's from America that go and play on those teams. And
Gotcha.
so it's the same concept as like they do up in Canada. And so, but if you
Well,
go
so
over there,
let me ask you a question real quick then, because here's what's intriguing me about what you're saying so far. And you're going into spring, spring football league, right? So, but leading up into this, early in our conversation, you're saying they did it with this and they went belly up. They tried it with this and they couldn't get it off the ground. And I remember some of these groups, right? Some of the other football leagues that they were doing. And I remember one, and it must have been right around 99, 2000, 2001, right? And they were trying some stuff. And they promoted on ESPN and everything else more about the cheerleaders than they actually did the league. I mean, it looked like you would have thought that the league for that was going to be more of a Victoria's Secret parade, than it was going to be anything else because they talked so much about the cheerleaders. What do you? This is a little aside, but where do you think they dropped the ball on those leagues? And what are
it
you doing with SFL that you're like, we are not sticking our foot into that cow patty, right?
it's for me, it's evident because I lived it. If
It's
you
not
have
evident
a
for me. I'm a dummy to this, so you tell me.
Yeah, so for me, I see it as really easy. It's just a collaboratory collaboration from our business leaders,
Mhm.
the chambers of commerce. If they're truly seeking to create an opportunity for our next era of football or next era of young adults coming out, want to make an impact in the community,
Right.
that's where they really drop the ball because look at how many people are attracted to football. Look how much the income those guys make. Look how much it brings to the city. If you're truly trying to make an impact, what are we doing to help uplift the individuals in the community that go to the games? They love football, but they're week to week they're trying to find out where they're gonna live even.
Mm.
So those are we're trying to address. We can't do everything, but there's a lot of nonprofit organizations out there that they're dedicated to the community, and so we want to become that resource for them. And that's what sets us apart because ours is truly mission focused. We're trying to uplift the community. So that goes to our mission statement. It said, we play the game, but you live the life. And that's a life of service, a life of
Haha.
giving back.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's our motto. You play the game, but you live the life. That's a life of service. And so that's why the opportunity for the military and the police, if you already serve, I mean, you now you can play the game. So they're going backwards. You get some guys that play, but but we want to build them up the right way and have our community leaders, our leadership that some of the folks that I are having leadership, solid individuals with character, trust, integrity. And so there's a lot of things that happen right now with the other leagues out there. So guys getting in trouble and things of that nature. And you can't control everything. But I think our team, the way we want to approach it, help to build a well-rounded player, well-rounded athlete. Our approach is different because if you have a heart for people, yeah, and you're built your characters a certain type of way, you're not gonna want to see, the guy on the street that you can help. You have a different mindset
Amen.
when you start looking at the individual. You're not all about wearing $200,000 rings and watches and things. Hey, you have a different when that money could be helped to be help up a whole family sustain themselves for a year and things of that nature. So we have a different, not that if that's your thing, that's fine with you. We're not, that's fine. But um it's so many things that you can truly make an impact in the community with what we have a different philosophy, a different way we want to look at it, and a different way we want to approach the guys that help building up the guys.
So let me ask you this. And you're not some dummy that used to play a little ball and had some dreams, right? I mean, anybody who's like I said is going through this and at the same time was working on their masters during that whole thing, right? You've got that whole thing, and you're like, listen, we don't paint with one color. It's a whole palette. And I've got to continually, life is a journey, right? I've got to develop myself. I'm doing this. There's something beyond the game. I think that shows incredible foresight because a master's is not the simple thing to go after. That's going to anybody can get out of college, theoretically with a bachelor's degree. I did it, so that's proof. But if you go back a couple of times, you need your master's, right? You're saying I'm really going after something. So here's a question. I got one right behind it on this. What about SFL? Whether it's your idea, whether it's something that grew out of it organically because of the things you do, what about SFL excites Lewis? What is it that you say this? I mean, there's football and you got to love the game and you got to want to do it. And you got to want to play and we want to make slots for people. What is it about SFL that sometimes Lewis says it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm on an idea and I got to stop because I might not sleep if I really walk down that path. What is that for Lewis?
Creating an opportunity. That's
Mm,
number one,
mm.
creating an opportunity. Every guy that plays football dreads the day that they know this is it. And they're like, this is it.
There's a
And
window, there's a shelf life, right? I mean,
but not having an opportunity to fulfill that dream for whatever reason.
mhm.
And then we're able to help solve that problem. But that's what's driving me to help solve that problem of the guy that wants know it, that they've made a start at 2, 5, 3 years, 4 years, and didn't get an opportunity for whatever reason. They went to a small school, nobody showed up, and they know they can play.
Mhm.
And so that's really what's driving me to kind of create that opportunity for that type of guy because I lived it myself. I went, I had talent, But if for whatever reason I couldn't stay there because I leaving football and the new coach bringing all the other players in. I'm like, you really didn't give me a chance. We ended up winning the MAC championship, but I wasn't, that was all my teammates, and I didn't give it, I was right there, and I'm like, man. So it's losing out on opportunity is really the biggest driver for me to create that opportunity for the guy that might have fell through the crack, went to a smaller school, didn't get a tryout, didn't make a practice squad, didn't get an invite. So that's really what is driving me to help solve that problem.
I love that. I met a businessman, a successful businessman, and he gave heavily to Toys for Tots, right? And he made a speech about it one day, and I know he had had a troubled past. He said, if it hadn't been for Toys for Tots, there'd have been years where nothing happened for me, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, if that doesn't answer all the questions in the world, right? And Lewis, you've had the career and you've been in so many little facets of it, but you're like, I want to open up an opportunity because your heart is there, and that missed opportunity can sting a bit. So here's my question. Little Lewis, little Louie, little boy. When were you watching a game? When were you doing something? Tell me about that moment in time when you were one little kid, and you sat there and you watched somebody play a game. What was a moment where you look back and you can say right now to this day, full grown, that still plucks my heartstring because I said that's for me. I've got to be in that somehow.
Well, the driving factor for me really was when I didn't get the opportunity when Coach Modi came in from Western, the new
Yeah, of course,
coach.
but there was a kid in there somewhere that you didn't just wake up one day and
Oh, you
I'm
mean okay when I was young?
yeah, you're
Okay, gotcha.
probably scrimmaging with some friends, you're doing whatever else, maybe you and
No,
your daddy sitting there watching a
no,
game on a Thanksgiving.
okay. It was in the third grade. Now I remember in the
Right.
third.
Now we got it. There we go. Hit
Okay.
me.
Well, I grew up in Kalamazoo. Western Michigan University's campus was literally 2 blocks
Kalamazoo. I've
away.
never met anybody from Kalamazoo. I know that old fashioned song. I got a gal from Kalamazoo.
But the campus was really like 2 blocks away from my house.
Yeah.
And the band, and the band was going, and then I would walk up. There's this big old giant hill on the East Campus that you can walk up. And at that time, you can walk up there the hill and you can see the games. But I was, I'm in 6, 7, 8 years old, somewhere around there. And wait, 9 or 10 years old, somewhere around there. And I could hear the games on Saturday. And so when I get out there, I was like, look, all these people at the games. And I saw them playing, the Broncos playing down there. So that became like a ritual of me going up the hill and watching the games, looking through the fence. And, my mom just think we're out playing, but I would just go. The music was really what drove me to go check out
It's
the
all the
game.
fanfare. You're hearing the band
Yeah.
play and the people yell and
I really,
you,
at that age, I was just looking. At that age, I was just looking.
that's the
And
song Jukebox Hero. A guy couldn't get into this, and he's sitting there and he's watching. He can hear the crowd, but he can't get in. And
yeah,
I love that. I love that. Right?
yeah.
The
It started in
pageantry.
the third grade.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when does the season begin for SFL?
Here's the goal. Once right now, I spoke with our Houston City Council a couple weeks back.
Mhm.
Shared our mission, our vision, what we want to do. The goal is to obtain support from our chamber members, our business leaders, to have them be willing to sponsor a player, sort of like NASCAR, or sort of like an apprenticeship in the off season.
Cool, cool.
Uh, how the workforce comes aboard is this. There's a number of companies that their goal is to find quality candidates for their companies. What we want to do is create that opportunity by, hey, we're developing this new football league. Why don't you, instead of hiring a guy um, off the street, why don't you sponsor one of our guys that's seeking an opportunity to play for our league? He just recently graduated. His degree is in marketing, and we want to create that opportunity being for your company to sponsor this guy. That's how the workforce board comes aboard, because they have all the candidates, and they're good at the screenings and job fairs and all that kind of do. So the ultimate goal is for us to have like a 3-day camp, like a 3-day expo. We have the first day we have the height, weights, stats, and agility. Second day, we have 7-on-7, 9-on-7, scrimmage, and then the third day it might be a combination of just the first and second day, but we kind of work that out. We want to have the opportunity for those companies to, hey, you saw the guys' strength test, his agility, you saw him in the scrimmage. This is your time to sit down and kind of see if this is going to be a good fit for your organization.
Looking to grow your business beyond 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures plus, what I want you to do is go download this book. The title is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. It will help you grow your business past 5, 6, and 7 figure. Go download the book today, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and download the book for absolutely free.
And then that way it's real, because we're talking about real life outcomes. My day job is I work for the state. We're looking at outcomes. What's going to introduce this problem? How are we going to get the results?
Right.
And so that some reality has to take place for the place. And it's not about football. If it never pans out, these are real employers that's going to help you cultivate your skills, talk to you, and then see if it's a good fit if you never go up any higher, go to a next level. So that's what the goal, our approach is. That's why I say our approach is different than what's out there right now. I'm all about creating more opportunity like the other leagues is, but we're trying to build solid individuals, lifelong results by creating opportunities. But then also, there's some certifications that the players can get to say, hey, I went through this program, I got certified, I legitimately can do this, I can fulfill these tasks. And then also, all of what I've shared, most of what I shared is pretty much the play the game part. Ultimately, what we want to do is, like I shared, my family, my dad was homeless. There's some life skills, there's some outcomes that we want to see and make an impact in the community to help, the single mom, single mom and the children that doesn't have a dad or doesn't have food, or there's all kinds of nonprofits that are already doing the work. But we also want to make sure help those individuals get the resources that they need to help generate the right outcome, so they don't repeat the same cycle of staying in poverty or facing those challenges. So those are some of the things that we want to do also in the living the life part of our mission. So our first part is play the game. The second part, live the life, and that's the giving back service part.
I'm all about giving, right? I love that part. So tell me a little nuts and bolts here. What does SFL look like? I mean, how many teams are there going to be? Is there going to be a commissioner?
Well, it really is going to determine on the level of partnerships I would like to see 10 to 12 teams, but it's going to be determined on the level of partnerships, of buy-ins we have with from different city officials, different chambers, and different community organizations. So Um, Dallas, Atlanta, there's already some area. I got some relationships in those cities already, and shared our vision, what we're trying to do. There's literally, I got a number of cities that we want to partner with to get started, but it just takes that one city to get the buy-in, and that's happening here in Houston.
Right.
So as soon as we get the resources to move forward, then we can start replicating our model to the other cities. So it always just takes, the hardest one is the first one getting started. But
No kidding.
we get started, once we get that started, it's easy to replicate, because then start seeing the competition. What is Houston doing against Dallas? Now, what's Dallas doing against San Antonio or El Paso or Florida, Georgia? We start replicating the model.
So, well, then here's the question: the Houston what?
That's a whole nother thing. We see the community involvement piece.
Right.
We want to say, what, this is your community. What do you think it should be? And have a
Right.
competition. Maybe the winner gets lifetime season tickets or season tickets or something like that. So it's
Well,
the
I
thing
mean,
about
could it be?
everything's marketable.
Can it be? You're going to have a lot of corporate sponsors. Could you have a corporate sponsor that's large enough where they've got some kind of name in the game? I mean, at the end of the day, so many were, back in the day, it's one thing to have like the Lions, or some, but like you had back in the day, you had the Oilers because that was, oil was big in that area. You had the Steelers. That's kind of an easy one to figure out, right? Because of all the steel workers. But it's a funny little thing is, in tools, right? And you've got screwdrivers and you've got a regular slotted, screwdriver, right? Looks like the minus, and that existed for, time untold. And then you came out with the Phillips or the plus screwdriver. Well, the reason we have the Phillips screwdriver is from the Phillips Corporation.
Hmm.
They invented the Phillips screw, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, and you're thinking you're saying all this corporate sponsorship. I mean, are there any big Texas companies, that are or somebody headquartered in Houston that might pick something up and it might end up being the Houston, well, not the
It,
Houston
it,
Phillips,
it,
but
it's very possible. Houston
right.
has one of the largest chambers in the country.
Really?
And yes, Houston has one of the largest chambers in the country.
I did not
So,
know that. Wow.
yeah, it could very well be that. But at the same time, we don't want to lose that community connection. It might be a small mom and pop store that wouldn't be able to compete against a major corporation, but they're interested in sponsoring a guy and can pay him a good salary
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in his degree there. If he wants to be culinary, there's all kinds of restaurants. If he wants to be an
Good food.
owner, yeah. So they're all over, literally all over the place here. So we don't want to. We want to be able to. We want to make a community impact. We just see what's going on right now with the other leagues right now. Yeah, they had the money, they had the resources. They come in. We're gonna come in and do this, but you look in the stands. Where's the results?
Hmm.
Our approach is we're trying to make an impact in the community and deliver results by engaging in the community and creating those opportunities that if we have the police officer, we have the guy that's in the military that does graduate, come out, look for a job. We have the colleges guys that's just graduate and everybody knows him in the area. And he's working now at such and such company, and now everybody in that company is going to wear his jersey because he's there and because they know he's going to be playing for the SFL. So he's building. We want our approach is different because we're building a fan base for the guy that's in the community, and everybody's going to wear that guy's jersey once and it's going to sort of be like NASCAR. So when the season gets started, they're going to throw Ray Ray's chicken sack on his jersey. Who knows? Or it could be the Chamber of Commerce, or it could be the community college, or it can be, whatever. It can be, it's a lot of, it could be NASA. So there's all kinds of companies here that could sponsor a team, whatever. Uh, uh, it's all about the collaboration and those willing to invest in the next generation of guy coming out to play football. And there's literally a surplus of guys that are seeking opportunities right now.
When you said like 16,000, I didn't expect, I did not
Every
expect
year,
that kind of number. I mean, if you had said
every year
1,600,
there's
I would have thought,
every year there's 16,000 eligible players that could be drafted for the NFL. That's
holy
every
moly,
year.
that's an army.
Yeah, every year is 16,000 that's from freshman to senior. Freshman to senior. If you're a freshman and you're balling out,
Right?
you can, hey, there's a freshman that's balling out. He can be back drafted. Like this, so it's 16,000 every year that could be drafted. And so but not only that, you get like I mentioned, you have the COVID guys that add an extra year to come out. So there's a surplus of those guys. So there's all kinds of the players are the least amount of my problem. It's the buy-in and generating the resources to get started and created the opportunities for the guys. And so I got all kinds of support, but there's a scripture that says, "Where your treasure is, your heart will be also." And
Amen.
so we're waiting for that treasure to manifest. So, okay, you see what I'm trying to do, but where's the treasure at?
Right, right. No, I mean, I've seen, there's a Susie Orman, financial expert. She used to say, "You show me your checkbook register, and I'll show you what's important to your heart." Right?
Yep, that's
She's like,
true.
let me go through your bank statement. I'll tell you exactly, I'll look at where your money's going. I'll know it's exactly what's important.
That's
Let
exactly
me ask
right.
you a weird question. All right, so you're sitting around, with friends, and dinner party. You're having the weird conversations. Adult parties always end up in the kitchen. You got a time machine after people would want to go back and kill Hitler, meet Jesus, invest and be worth $300 billion. It always comes back to food, right? Because they can't go get something. Their grandmother made this one thing. She's gone this one restaurant they went to, but it went away when they were 13 or 14. They can't go back. What from Lewis's past, what food would you go back that you wish you could have and you can't have it? What food item haunts Lewis? And Lewis says, "Give me my time machine so I can go get it."
Well, to be honest, I pretty much eat everything. It's,
You didn't have that one item. Your grandmama didn't make you something. You can't think of something like that. There's one
well,
restaurant when you were a kid. You just wish you could.
I say that
I'm
because
no,
like I
I'm. You and I share a quality. I'm an omnivore. I love food. Right? I can eat whatever you said. They're like, "Do you have any food allergies?" I said, "Yeah, not eating." That's what my food allergy is.
growing up, it's like we whatever's there. And like I mentioned, my single mom, my dad wasn't around, and we ate whatever. And not too much. There was one thing that my mom did though.
Hmm.
How we woke up every morning. My mom would make cinnamon rolls every morning. That's how we woke up.
What?
Every morning we would wake up to the smell of cinnamon rolls. And we have that for breakfast. We wake up, all right, we either have
That sounds
cinnamon
terrible.
rolls.
That sounds, yeah. Are you kidding? I was eating cold cereal, and you got your mom's.
You don't like cinnamon?
No, no, no. I'm joking when I say it sounds terrible. I'm like, you wake up and you're like, it's going to be hot. You're going to be, eat all that. That's my
Yeah.
wife often does that on Sunday mornings, and she gets up super early. Sunday's not our day of rest. You got to herd the cats, get everybody in the church, get them for Sunday school, everything else. But she gets up and she does that on Sunday mornings. and here's your mama knocking it out like a machine gun every daggone morning. You're getting up
Every
there, and
day.
that
It
is
would
okay.
be cinnamon rolls and grits, cinnamon rolls and oatmeal, cinnamon rolls and cereal. But it'd be every day. That's how we woke up.
What a little
And
blessing that
it would
was.
come down, it'd be hot. And then sometimes when it was cold, I grew up in Michigan.
Mm.
She come down and we go out for the bus. We go out for the bus. He get some Vaseline and slap it on our face
What?
for
Really?
for frostbite,
Oh,
frostbite, because it'd be cold.
Lewis, I'm in Savannah, Georgia. We had 3 hard freeze days last year. Three, right? So, but golly day, man. I see. I knew that was something. It's always a little bit of food there because you didn't hit on it. Mama made cinnamon rolls in the morning, and you lit right up. All right. So let me ask you this: you SFL, if you can, 10 and 12, right? Theoretically, 10 and 12 games. Some corporate sponsorships, big and small sponsorships available. I love ongoing giving. I love ongoing development of a person, right?
Yes,
Because the old motto is this too shall pass.
yes,
And that means if you're going through tough times right now, right? There are good days in the future. If you're going through good day, some really good days, fat days, cinnamon rolls falling from the sky, everything's working out. It also means plan for the future because times of want, times of need will come along. That's why I mean you started this conversation off and you're like, I'm doing this and I'm trying to get out there and I'm also going for my master's. And I'm like, man, that should be carved in an edifice. That should be a trophy right there. The the Lewis White continue work on thyself, right? Work trophy should be handed out. I love that. What is the long dream for SFL? It's 20 years
but
into the future. It's 25 years into the future. And you're sitting there and you got the grandchildren about you and they're like, "Granddaddy, did you ever think it was going to do this?"
right.
What is that? What is that to Lewis says that is the that is the end goal. We might accomplish it in 5 years and flesh it out for the next 10, 20, 40 years, even past, when you're long since in the grave and it's still going. But what is the SFL long game? And when does Lewis get to say, I have won? There's a new game tomorrow,
Right.
but I won my game, right? What is that goal?
The goal is to really leave a legacy
Mhm.
for my children, my family. But the telling story is gonna what is your gravestone gonna say?
Mhm.
Is it say that this person just a good person? Does this person what do people want to remember you by? And what did you do with your time here on earth? Did you only think about yourself? Did you only think about or did you spend a lot of time trying to assist or help the fellow person improve their lives? And like from my childhood experiences and things of that nature, I was always trying to help people become their best they could be. And so, but to leave a legacy that can help change people's life, that's really what this is all about. Because I saw the life that I lived, and I don't want that for anybody. I mean, some of
You're
the
here.
tragedies it helped build me the way I am. But some of the things I could have dealt without, some of the tragedy and things like that. But we all go through life. But what is the impact? I believe it like this. We all have a gift inside of us. what are we taking the time to cultivate our gift? And then where is that going to take us, and how is it going to make an impact and benefit others? And my gift is different from your gift, but we all have one. And there's people right now waiting on me to get this off the ground. Literally thousands upon thousands of people are waiting for me to get this off the ground and be able and have those guys then become the guys that are becoming change agents that can help create even though they're seeking an opportunity to play football, but they all have a different gift. And what is that? And how is that going to impact the next guy? And somebody's always watching. Somebody's always watching you. How is your life going to impact? So what are we doing to set an example? And also, as a leader, how is our character going to be reflected so that we're impacting that next individual to make the right decisions? Just today on the news, I'm like, he's one gay away. There's a couple gays for, I'm not going to share, but guys that's making bad decisions. I'm like, what in the world? I could tell this one because this one was on the news.
Okay.
Teenagers, yeah, the teenagers out, tried to rob of an armored car last week. Um, to get away, one of them jumped into the bayou down here in Houston and ended up passing away, all because of I don't know. They tried to rob an armored car, and they all ran. One of them, they jumped in the bayou. One of them passed away, all
Wow.
because they did something that's uh,
Wasn't smart in the first
one
place.
of the things. Right, they weren't supposed to do it, but number there's this one. I got this from this Dr. Miles Monroe said
Mm.
it this way. He said most problems in life are because people don't ask themselves these 5 questions. Number one, who are you? Number two, where are you from? That means your people. What are your people good at? What do they, grow up doing? Um, Number three, so the first one is who are you? The second one is where are you from? The third one, what are you good at? So like I mentioned, everybody has a gift inside of them. Sometimes they don't recognize it, and sometimes they need to be confirmed. All right, like Will's always good at that. Go get Will. He's good at it. And so sometimes you recognize, sometimes you don't recognize until somebody confirms it with you.
Hmm.
And then the fourth one is, why are we here? Why are you here? Why am I here? And then the last one is, where are you going?
Oh my,
He
oh,
said
that's
most problems in life happen because people don't answer those 5 questions. Because if you don't know who you are, if you don't know where you're from, and if you don't know what you're good at, you won't know why you're here and you won't know where you're going. So I got that from Dr. Miles Monroe before he
that's worth the
passed.
price of admission right there. Oh my gosh. That's it.
Yeah, he passed away maybe 8 years ago, something like that. Can't remember. But I got that from him, and he said that. I said that is so true. And that's some of the things that we want to instill in our players to have them recognize that. Who are you? Where are you from? What are you good at? Why are you here? Now, where are you going? You know what I mean? So we want to ask those type of questions, help build the right. So because he said that's 90% of the people on the planet don't ask those 5 questions. And he said, I was like, yep, I never asked myself those.
I would challenge him and I would say 98, at least 95, not 90, but maybe 98%. Golly, I mean, and that just build it. Where are you going? Right.
Yeah,
I've always liked, there are two big ones. And that is nobody ever sits down and says what they want. Right.
yeah,
And not like, I want a big house. No, no. Where? What street? What does it look like? What is it? What color is it? Does it have one floor or two floors? What does the front door look like? What does the master bedroom look like? Right? That's the whole point.
yeah,
Does it have a backyard? Does it have a pool? Right? Don't just big, that's nothing. I just want to, I want to, this nice house. What is nice, right? Nice is so wide open. And then finally, what do you want? How do you mean to get there, right? What do you need to
Yep.
do to get there, and break it up in incremental steps? And I've always loved that. So here's a question I've asked a number of times. I'm going to ask it to you a little bit differently because you presented to me in a completely different way. I've said a couple times to some people, I've said, if you're in the movie Star Wars and you're about to go you're in your spaceship and you're about to make the run on the Death Star and go blow that up, what song do you put in there to ramp you up? I'm going to ask Lewis a different question. I'm going to say Lewis is the big butt kicking star of this. He has developed this for 5 years down the road. He's going on a number of interviews, and sometimes people have their own music. One of my favorite ones of all times is the attack comic Don Rickles back in the day. And when Don Rickles would come on to any show or would about to become on stage, they would play matador music like you're about to see a bullfight, right? And it was all this dun 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 dun. What song, if Lewis is on the talk show circuit because he has built this series of things, there are 10, there are 12 teams, there are all these, there's commissioners, there's millions of dollars pumping through it, all kinds of corporate sponsorship. And people keep saying, Lewis, I need you to fly out. I need you to go on this show. And they're like, we're bringing out the band who created the spring football league. What song, they play, 10, 15-second clip on the curtains open up and you walk out and you go sit in a chair and they're interviewing you. What song do they play for Lewis?
Creed. Creed. It's just I don't know the name of the song, but it's if you're with me, I'm free. Uh, I think it's you remember, but it's Creed. It's I can't. One of the main singers of that song passed away
Yeah.
too. But Creed, that song I can't remember it. When you're with me, I can't remember the name of that song though. But they played that song at like I told you, my buddy was in a bureau for 18 years, and they played that at his funeral. And yeah,
My
Creed,
Sacrifice
there you go. That's it.
by Creed. When you're with me,
Yeah,
I'm free. I'm careless, I
yeah.
believe. Above all others will fly. This brings tears to my eyes.
Creed, yeah. You
Okay.
listen to that one. That one gets you fired up.
All right. So that's the song. Da, 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 I'm free. My sacrifice. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on here with us today. I love the vision um, for my spring for spring football league. Uh, it's a little different because you don't just put a thing on just the game itself. You're like, I want to develop. I want people to continue to improve themselves and improve the world about them by the missions, by giving around them. I think that's an incredible thing to do. I love the idea about getting companies and the people in the state around you to really bolster behind you and support it. And I did not know there were 16,000 people to pick from at any given time. Just opening up 10 or 12, I mean, you could have 100 teams. With that kind of roster. As we
Well,
wrap up, go ahead. Go ahead.
right. Yep. The part about that, I said technically there's 16,000,
Mhm.
but our goal is to only focus on the guys that are graduating. That's the total number
Sure.
from freshman to senior. That's about available. That if they wanted to draft them, there's 16,000 eligible players in the NCAA from college.
Right.
But we only want to focus on the guy that just graduated and didn't have an opportunity to go to the next level. Plus, I was one of those guys spent 2, 3, 4 years after college, still trying to play. And so we're not even talking about those guys. And then you have the COVID guys mixed in with those. So there's probably way more to
I don't even want to know what your travel was like during that when you kept telling, you're going around to all these places. I mean,
I was an intern. I was working at the House of Representatives, worked for a state representative, and I was taking my own time, to drive out, fly out, and go to these camps on my own because I still wanted to play. And then my last one was with the Lions, and that's where I ended up. Ended up 5 years with the Lions after after college. So I started off as an intern, and then I'm working in the marketing department for 5 years. But I learned a lot through those experiences. Um, some of them good. That most of it, wait, I would say everything on the outset it made me who I am today. And I don't want to change. It's only one thing I would change for the whole experience, and that was just getting the axe. I'm like, man, that was the only,
we all get
that
the
was the
axe
only thing.
eventually, right?
No, but everything, the friends and relationships and all that, everything is. I wouldn't take anything back. But I learned a lot from those experiences because it created the All-American Football League experience. It created the other opportunities and more coaches. But sometimes an organization can only take you so far because if there's a vision inside of you that's greater, that you can make a greater impact. Now I'm starting to start a whole league when I was just an employee.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now I'm trying to
Right.
start our own whole league, but the way the vision that I had then is not the same that I have right now because this is all about not only creating that opportunity, but you're building a whole athlete. And from those challenges and experience, I learned from those. It's like you have to have something to fall back on besides just football. And that's what a lot of the saying, getting all those no's from the NFL teams, from the mayor's office, from the governor's offices, because I was trying to find everybody employment, getting all of those no's. They said, Lewis, we love what you're trying to do, but these guys don't have any experience. And so I learned from all those experiences. So that's what helped cultivate what we're trying to do with the SFL right now through all those experiences. So I really can't take anything back from, the life skills and things that I learned because it made me who I am today. So that's where.
Some of our most
So now you can
wisdom,
play the Creed song.
right? Some of our wisdom always comes from either bad decisions, dumb decisions, or things thrust upon us that we hated at the
Yeah,
moment, and but we learn so much from it, right? We pull from it, and
right,
oftentimes it drives us harder than the best wins that we would have ever gotten because
right.
we see that, we remember that pain, and it just annoys us. We're like, I'm gonna build this thing. I love it. I love it. I especially, like I said, I love the continuing work, and I love the continuing giving. I think it's a beautiful thing. I'm curious just to see what it's going to be
Yeah,
the Houston. I want to know. I want to know what that's going to be. Um, and
yeah. It's this that time of the year. It's giving season. It's Christmas coming up in a few days. And we're gonna have a new year. I'm actually going through it right now. There's some people hurting. There's
oh
a
yeah.
lot of people
Oh
hurting right now.
no, no, it is. Amen.
So I wish we was at a level that we could make an impact right away. Because like I told city council a few weeks ago, there's a stadium over there sitting empty right now. You got why not mm, replicate, what the Texans doing on Sundays, and we can start doing that in the spring. And even though there's another league, another team here that's trying to get off the ground and play in the spring, they don't have the same mission or vision that we have. I could see by the numbers that they had the past 2 years. I mean, they don't have the same. I'm all about more opportunity, creating opportunities for those guys, but they don't have the same vision that we have that could
Mhm.
make a greater impact. So that's what separates us. We're mission focused. That's what separates us from the other leagues that's out there. So,
Right.
so that hopefully that the way I shared everything, is understandable. Um,
No,
and
no, it is. I think you've got a zeal for it. I think you've got a passion. Um, and you've just got undiluted experience, right, in the background. It's one of the pieces that, a lot of people have a lot of dreams that they can shoot for, but they may not have cooked, long enough in the stew to be ready to really pull something out of the hat. And you got to start with, the first one is always the hardest. The second one is going to be right there behind that because you got to have somebody to play against.
yeah,
Um, right? I mean, even the Globetrotters have to have the generals, their team that travels, that's part of the part of the entertainment. They've got to have somebody to play against. Um,
well, I see it as being very easy. I really do.
of course you
I
do,
really,
but
I see it as very
you're doing the
easy
heavy lift. Go ahead.
because we have, even though we have our own city council and everything here, there's already a competition between here and Dallas. There's already a
Oh,
competition between other cities and then other states.
right.
And so we want to be the best here. They want to be the best there. And so it's already that competition is already there. And so it's going to be so okay. Just like there's the Houston to Dallas train that's getting developed right now. Super train
Hmm.
that's being developed. It's going to get from here to Dallas in like 2 hours instead of 4 hours driving,
Oh,
or
wow.
maybe even close. Or maybe so there and Amtrak is working on some things as well. So it's going from uh East Coast to from like I think it's from New York to DC in like 20 minutes or something. I don't know.
Wow,
But
wow.
there's some trains and things that it's all about competition. Once we get established, it's easy to replicate our model to other cities and then other states. We just have to hit the ground, and we're hopefully this helps spearhead getting us launched and everything like that to move forward. And so I can leave my day job working at I work for the state, so
You're gonna work
hopefully I
yourself
can.
right out of the job, right? I mean, that's the whole point,
No,
right?
but the goal is to replicate me. The goal is to replicate me that can do the same work. Because right now I work with individuals that are blind.
Mhm.
They're managers, but they're also entrepreneurs, and they serve in the community. They run facilities across the state. I have the Gulf Coast region, so they run facilities like at NASA, prison units, courthouse, federal building, FBI, social services, DEA. They work in all state and federal facilities according to an act that was put in place back, 50, 40, 50, 60 years ago. There's when individuals coming out of the military, been blind or visually impaired, they had to create opportunities for those individuals to make a living for themselves. So I run one of the programs here in Houston, for the program to create the opportunities for those individuals to serve in the community and make a living, make an impact. So that's what I do right now, do today.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can see how you want to incorporate that into the work you do. I appreciate your time with me today.
You
Um,
know,
I think we've got to come. We say, we need to come back normally about, once a year and check up on you. I think you're running too fast to sprint. I think we got to come back in 4 to 6 months and check in and see, what else we could do to continue to push your information forward because you got a lot on your plate and I want to see how it moves forward and I want to see what our people in here I don't know what businesses can help out. However, per usual, if you have a business and you would like to help support the Spring Football League, look down below. There's going to be a link. You can start supporting them in pre-tax dollars where it will give to them long term, right? That's always our goal. Where we're spending less time or trying to get the money to do the work and more time spending doing the actual work. Um, but in the meantime, Lewis, we don't want you to be a stranger. Please keep us abreast of what's going on in the Spring Football League and let us know how that moves. In the meantime, if somebody's watching this in August, it won't make as much sense to them, but Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you, sir.
And they're like, and when you're watching this, if it's July, July 11th, it's August 18th, they're like, what is this guy talking about? Because this is Christmas today. It's Christmas Eve, right? It's the 23rd, so it's barreling down on me and Lewis right now. It might not be hitting you while you're watching this, but make sure let's set up a time, and that way, sometime in the semi near future, we can see what's happening with Spring Football League, and you can apprise us of the new steps that we're going and any new accomplishments because we want to hear it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, we all want to scale our business. Hey, I have the answer for you today to help you do that. If you're looking to scale from 5, 6, even 7 figures and beyond, book called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. I'm going to give it to you for free. All you have to do is type in growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and you can download the book for absolutely free. I hope the book helps you this year. Take your business to the next level. Again, go grab the book, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. I wish you the best and grow, scale, and win.
That wraps up today's episode of The Wizard of Dogs. We hope you've enjoyed the insights and ideas shared in today's conversation. Now, if you found value in this episode, don't forget to subscribe and tell us how we're doing. Your feedback helps us bring you more content that matters. And of course, stay connected with us for updates, tips, and more. Until next time, keep giving, take care, and keep making an impact.
There it is. Magnum. Holy moly.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
Dear God. It's beautiful.